And it's Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services and PACE, a professional association for customer engagement. We're at the annual conference in Atlanta, Georgia. And I get a chance to talk with one of the sponsors of the event, one of the companies exhibiting here, and actually two companies, Iconectiv and Infutor. And let's hear from Rob Ziemba of Iconectiv. Tell us a little bit about your company, Rob.
Iconectiv, well, we're the authoritative resource enabling the communications happening worldwide. We've been doing that for over 30 years, and what we do is focus on making those communications simple, seamless, and secure.
Very good. Brian, good to see you. Tell us a little bit about your company, Infutor.
Sure. Thanks, Ken. It's Infutor Data Solutions. So we help our customers better interact with their customers, one customer interaction at a time. And so what's really relevant for this conference is our ability to take a 10-digit telephone number and tell someone who's on the other end of that phone and provide incredible and tremendous, deep insights about that person that is calling into a call center. Very applicable for many of the companies here.
Very good. Brian, if you would, tell us a little bit about some of the services that your company offers.
Yeah, so two services that we're talking about here is our identity verification service and our TCPA solution, and thus the reason our partnership with Iconectiv is so valuable. It's their ability to provide deep insights about every single 10-digit telephone number in the North America dialing plan that we leverage within our own identity graph for the TCPA solution that we have in the marketplace that is largely powered by Iconectiv.
Very good. Now let's go to Rob, and maybe if you would just tell us a little bit about some of the services from Iconectiv.
Yeah, so we've been working with Infutor, and what we do is focus on the right party verification capabilities. So a lot of companies that look at TCPA compliance, they think they're covered because a lot of companies out there look at the kind of the big picture of TCPA compliance, and what they do is they forget about the number reassignment issue, which is an important checkbox to make sure you're fully compliant with TCPA. So today, there's about 1 million telephone numbers that are reassigned each and every week in the United States, which creates a huge problem for these companies to be TCPA compliant.
Very good. If you would, maybe mention some of the challenges that you're working with your clients on. Certainly TCPA compliance, portability. What are some of the active project areas, themes that you're working with your clients on?
Well, typically we see a lot of companies, they'll focus on usually two aspects of that. Well, first and foremost, some of them will try to be fully compliant with the rules and regulations, and to do that, what they're doing is they're looking at the wireless do not call lists, and what they're doing is they're taking out all the wireless numbers out of that and basically over suppressing the numbers that they're calling. So they're removing, millions of numbers, right? 1 million numbers each week that they're potentially removing from their calling lists and their messaging lists that they could rightfully be calling each and every day. Others, they try to focus on kind of burying their head in the sand and kind of ignore it and hope that it kind of goes away. So what we're able to do is with our solution is give them a fully compliant solution that enables them to call all the numbers that they're able to call and do that legally.
And I understand some of your clients are some of the largest telecommunications carriers, and I understand both here and in other markets. What is it like to work and be relied on by those very large telecommunications companies?
Yeah, well, having been in the business for over 30 years, that provides us with a lot of background information to be able to understand and interpret a lot of the data that these communications companies have, to interpret it correctly and apply it into these types of solutions like this TCPA compliance solution. And by working with folks like Infutor, they actually take that knowledge and then expand it out into the enterprises so they can apply that even beyond the communications industry.
Yeah, so this is Ken, this is an issue for any company that is working in the B2C space, right? So if you're engaging with a consumer, whether it's from a marketing or a collections perspective, you really need to know who's on the other end of that phone, right? And so to Rob's point, 45 million phone numbers being reassigned every year, 1 million every week. The velocity of change it's tremendous. And so, our partnership enables us across any company, right? Any, let's call it Fortune 1000 company, to really better understand who they're interacting with and making sure that they're delivering a highly relevant message, but then not only that, making sure that they're staying TCPA compliant within that marketing message.
Very good. A lot of discussion of new technology applied to the contact center space. What are some of the new technology solutions you have for your clients?
Yeah, so I think the one thing that we do incredibly well is enable those customer interactions in sub-second, right? So being able to intercept a 10-digit telephone number before it gets to our customer's call center, and then being able to deliver all of that insight about who that individual is, maybe what kind of car they drive, what kind of property they live in, and then still knowing that you're TCPA compliant with that consumer. So.
Okay, that's great. You're out in Chicago. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in the telecommunications contact center industry.
Yeah, so I've been maybe not as many years as my counterpart here, Rob, but so about 20 years in the information services and analytics space. So really, from a marketing and risk perspective, been helping a lot of companies, ultimately better interact with their customers, one customer interaction at a time.
Yeah, that's great. And Rob, just again, what technologies are you applying to your customers' projects right now? What new technology solutions?
So within the TCPA compliance area, what we're doing is we're focusing on making sure that they're accessing that the most convenient and easiest way that they can integrate with those solutions. So we're providing things like API access, monitoring capabilities, scrubbing capabilities, so that we can work within, however they're looking to deliver their service and enable their service. We're supporting the easiest integration that they can have.
And I always like to ask my guests how they got started in their career and a little bit about the path of their career. How did you get into this field?
Actually, for me, it started back with Bell Communications Research, which is a predecessor of Iconectiv. So back when in the mid '80s, when with AT&T. And Bell Labs was split off from AT&T. I was actually involved right from the beginning out of college, and got my hands dirty with the communications industry right from the start.
Well, I remember those days in the 80s. We're going to talk about it tomorrow night, I think. I remember in grad school all that was going on, and it was really a case study to watch. Gentlemen, both great to see you. What's the best thing about being here at PACE for you?
Just meeting the people. There's some fantastic people here. Just understanding kind of what their perspective is on the industry and contact centers, and it's just been enlightening for me to understand some of the challenges that they have. It's been very, very worthwhile.
Okay, I'll give Brian the last word. What's the best thing about being at this PACE conference and talking to colleagues and new prospects?
Other than the wet golf outing yesterday, sponsored by Iconectiv, it's been a tremendous networking event, and I think a lot of the speakers have just tremendous content that they're sharing, with all the attendees here. So just great networking and great content overall.
Great. Brian Wolf from Infutor and Rob Ziemba from their partner Iconectiv. Gentlemen, good to talk with you, and glad you're here at the PACE conference in Atlanta. This is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services and PACE, the Professional Association for Customer Engagement.